Right now, somewhere in the United States, someone is walking around with a Roosevelt dime in their pocket, completely unaware that it is worth more than a luxury treasure locked in a billionaire's vault. These tiny silver beauties have been hiding in plain sight for decades, slipped through cash registers, laundry machines, and dusty coin jars, each one a silent fortune waiting to be uncovered. Tonight, on CoinX USA, we dive deep into the unbelievable world of the top 10 most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever discovered. These are not ordinary coins. They are pieces of American history fused with mystery, luck, and jaw-dropping value that could change your life in a heartbeat. You think a dime is just 10 cents? Think again. One of these small discs could be your ticket to a hidden fortune, a collector's dream that even seasoned numismatists are hunting day and night. And tonight, we begin with a dime that looks dirty, ordinary, even forgotten. Yet its story will leave you speechless. Ladies and gentlemen, stay right here, because by the end of this video, you will never look at a Roosevelt dime the same way again. Coin number 1. Have you ever picked up a dime that looked a little off? Maybe a strange tint, a dark layer, a coin that seemed too old for its year. Most people would toss it aside, maybe even wipe it clean, and drop it back into circulation. But what if that dirty dime you just ignored was actually a silent treasure? A coin so rare that when it appears, collectors from across America hold their breath? The 2014 Roosevelt dime, minted in Philadelphia, known by its modest P mint mark, is one of those legends that slipped through the cracks of ordinary life. On the surface, it seems simple. A modern coin, a common design, the face of Franklin D. Roosevelt looking steadily into the distance. But the truth buried within this small piece of metal tells a story of accident, chemistry, and fortune. This particular dime carries a mysterious black surface layer, a natural reaction between its copper-nickel composition and a rare environmental process that altered its skin, giving it that dark, smoky tone. For years, collectors thought these were mere blemishes, until advanced testing revealed that some of these coins were produced during an unusual batch cycle at the Philadelphia Mint, where trace elements in the metal reacted differently under specific heat and pressure. Only a handful survived. Imagine hundreds of millions of dimes rolling out of the mint in 2014, yet only a few bearing this ghostly black patina. They disappeared into circulation, unrecognized, unappreciated, until sharp-eyed treasure hunters began discovering them in change drawers and estate boxes. And when the first one hit the auction floor, something shocking happened. The bidding started modestly, a few $100s. Then, whispers spread, "That's one of the black-layered dimes." Within minutes, the room changed. Voices rose, bidders locked eyes, and by the time the gavel dropped, what was once a pocket coin had transformed into a modern legend. Now, let's talk about what makes this dime so unique. Its composition, a balanced blend of copper and nickel, normally produces a brilliant silver-gray shine. But in these rare cases, that shine is replaced by a deep, oil-like darkness, swirling with subtle rainbow sheens under bright light. It's not damage, it's chemistry's signature, and collectors adore it because no two are alike. Each coin tells its own secret, written in layers of oxidation that can never be replicated exactly. The condition of your coin is everything. The one that turned heads at recent auctions wasn't pristine. In fact, it was dirty, slightly scuffed, and even seemed forgotten. But that's exactly what made it real, untouched, and desirable. This isn't a coin that lived in a safe. It's a traveler, a survivor of pockets, drawers, and time itself. The more authentic its story, the stronger its allure. Collectors across the United States, from New York to California, are now actively hunting these black layer 2014 dimes. Coin forums buzz with rumors. Some say there are fewer than 50 verified pieces in collectible condition. Others believe more lie hidden in jars and junk drawers, waiting to be discovered by a lucky hand. And that's what makes this coin pure adrenaline for numismatists, the thrill of the unknown. The possibility that any ordinary day could end with a find that rewrites your fortune. So how much is this shadow layer Roosevelt dime truly worth? Hold your breath, because this is where things turn extraordinary. At today's auction prices, the 2014 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark and black layer in rare, dirty yet original condition has been valued at a staggering $34,000. Yes, $34,000 for a coin smaller than your fingertip. That's not a rumor. That is today's real market value. And the momentum is climbing. Every month, collectors are paying higher premiums for these pieces. The market is on fire. Experts believe the price could double, even triple, in coming years as awareness spreads. Don't take this as hype. This is fact backed by the auction floors of America. This coin is no longer just money, it's heritage turned to treasure. Imagine that a small piece of everyday currency transformed into a life-changing relic of modern minting history. If you are lucky enough to hold one, do not rush to sell. Protect it, certify it, let time work its magic. Because the market for Roosevelt dimes is entering a golden era, and this 2014 black layer specimen is leading the charge. For collectors watching this right now, here's your tip. Always inspect your modern dimes under good light. Don't dismiss discoloration. Look for that deep, dark sheen, the subtle rainbow tones on the rim, and the P mint mark that ties it to the Philadelphia Mint's mysterious 2014 batch. Keep it safe, photograph it, and if possible, have it graded by a trusted certification service, because every authenticated coin adds exponential value. And remember, this is just the beginning. The Roosevelt series hides countless secrets. Some are in your wallet, some in forgotten drawers, some waiting to be rediscovered on CoinX USA. Coin number 2. Now, we step back in time to an era when Elvis ruled the radio, America was dreaming of space, and silver still whispered in every pocket. But in the quiet hum of 1960, something strange happened inside the US. Mint, a tiny error invisible to the naked eye, created one of the most extraordinary Roosevelt dimes ever to exist. A dime with no mint mark. A dime that shouldn't exist yet does. And today, that missing mark is worth a staggering fortune. The 1960 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark is one of the rarest surviving examples from the mid-century minting period. Normally, coins struck in Philadelphia in those years carried no mint mark, a simple omission, standard for that time, but this particular batch has an aura of mystery that transcends the ordinary. Why? Because only a handful have surfaced with a distinctive, lightly black layer, a shadowed patina that seems to whisper of time, oxidation, and untouched originality. Most 1960 dimes were bright, sharp, and shiny, the kind you'd slip into a payphone or a jukebox without a second thought. But this one is different. Its faint dark layer isn't dirt or damage. It's the signature of history itself. The thin oxidation created a subtle, almost haunting tone over its copper-silver blend, a natural fingerprint that makes this coin instantly recognizable to trained eyes. Collectors call this the shadow dime, and for good reason. It carries the essence of 6 decades of untouched beauty, a piece of 1960, preserved in metal, sealed by time. The story gets even more fascinating when you realize how it was found. One of the earliest known examples was discovered not in a collection, but in a dusty box of mixed change at a Pennsylvania estate sale. When the coin was cleaned and placed under magnification, experts froze in disbelief. No mint mark, perfect strike, natural blackish tone, and no signs of tampering. The authentication came quickly, and when the hammer dropped at auction, it stunned even the most seasoned numismatists. You see, it is not just rarity that drives collectors wild. It's purity, the sense that something so simple, so overlooked, could survive untouched for decades and reappear like a time capsule of American minting history. The 1960 Roosevelt dime without mint mark in fine condition represents exactly that. The quiet, unintentional masterpiece that escaped notice for over half a century. Now let's talk about the composition that makes this coin such a treasure. In 1960, the U.S. Mint still struck dimes using a blend of 90% silver and 10% copper, a balance that gave them brilliance and long-lasting durability. That silver is the lifeblood of this coin's value, the element that time itself couldn't destroy. As the black layer slowly formed, it sealed that silver beneath it, protecting its brilliance and giving it a dark, elegant contrast that collectors crave. The fine condition you mentioned, that's key. It means the coin carries slight wear from circulation, but remains structurally pristine. Strong rim, visible torch and flame, clear lettering. The kind of wear that tells a story. Not damage, a life lived, but well preserved. That authenticity is what gives this coin its soul. Think about this. How many millions of people handled these dimes in 1960 at diners, gas stations, candy counters, never knowing one of them would one day be a symbol of rare American heritage, worth more than a small fortune. And maybe, just maybe, one of you watching right now has a similar treasure sitting unnoticed in a drawer or jar. The rarity of this coin is off the charts. Less than a dozen of these black-toned, no mint mark, 1960 Roosevelt dimes in fine condition have ever been authenticated by top-grading services. Every time one surfaces, it triggers excitement and debate. How many more exist? Are they all from one forgotten batch? Or did they result from a specific chemical reaction during long-term storage in certain environments? The truth remains a mystery, and that mystery adds even more value. Now, brace yourself, because the moment you've been waiting for is here. This coin isn't just valuable, it's a revelation. Today, in the current U.S. auction market, the 1960 Roosevelt dime, without mint mark, lightly black-layered, fine condition, has been recorded at a jaw-dropping $155,000. Yes, $155,000 for a coin most people would have tossed into a tip jar 60 years ago. That is not an exaggeration. It's the real current market value, verified by auction houses and private sales across America. The demand for mid-century Roosevelt dimes has exploded, and the price curve for this piece keeps rising with every passing year. Don't think of it as a coin. Think of it as portable treasure, a piece of silver history that could make you a fortune overnight. And experts are unanimous, its value is still climbing. The 1960 no-mint mark dimes are now being called the sleeping giants of modern numismatics. Once ignored, now coveted. Once pocket change, now life-changing assets. So here's your collector's tip. If you ever come across a 1960 dime, look closely. Flip it over. Search for the mint mark. And if it is missing, do not assume it is ordinary. Examine the surface carefully. A faint, blackish tone, slight silver haze, and strong details could mean you are holding a six-figure masterpiece. Handle it gently, store it safely, and get it certified immediately. Coins like this are why we say, never underestimate what is already in your hands. The 1960 Roosevelt dime without mint mark is living proof that even the smallest relic can carry the power of history, mystery, and unimaginable worth. And we're just getting started. There are still 8 more Roosevelt dimes on this list that will absolutely shock you, each with a story that blurs the line between chance and destiny. So stay tuned, subscribe, and keep your eyes open, because the next dime we reveal might just be the one sitting in your pocket right now. Coin number 3. Every coin tells a story, but some whisper secrets that even the mint never intended to share. In 1988, while America was booming, the Denver Mint was producing millions of dimes, ordinary, everyday coins meant to vanish into circulation without a second thought. But in that same year, something extraordinary happened behind the steel doors of the United States. Mint something that would give birth to one of the rarest Roosevelt dimes ever struck, a dime that defies logic, time, and explanation. A coin now known to collectors as the Brown Layer Miracle of 1988. It started as an ordinary production batch. Rows of gleaming blanks lined up, struck by the Denver Mint's precision presses. But among those countless dimes, a microscopic variation crept in, a subtle change in alloy temperature, an unseen chemical reaction that changed everything. Somewhere in that moment, the surface of a few coins took on a mysterious light brown tone, a whisper of bronze shimmering against the silver. It wasn't dirt, it wasn't tarnish. It was nature's fingerprint on history. Collectors describe it as a hue caught between sunlight and shadow, a delicate warmth across the face of Roosevelt himself, as though time gently kissed the silver and left behind a secret mark. For decades, these coins slipped unnoticed through pockets, cash drawers, and banks. Nobody cared about a dime that looked a little off, but numismatists, those modern-day treasure hunters with eyes sharper than diamonds, knew better. They saw something others missed. That faint coppery tint could mean only one thing: a chemical shift caused by a unique environmental reaction within the coin's nickel-copper-clad layer. Only a few dozen of these 1988 D. Roosevelt dimes with brown layer have ever been verified. Each one is a fingerprint of minting history. No two tones are the same. Some glow softly under light, others burn with a dull bronze hue like a relic lost to time. And the condition you mentioned, fine condition, adds even more power to its story. You see, fine condition means this dime lived a little. It traveled, it circulated, it carried stories of hands and history. But it survived with integrity, clear date, crisp lettering, strong rim. That combination of journey and preservation makes it irresistible to serious collectors. By 1988, the mint had long moved away from silver composition. Dimes were now made from a copper core, sandwiched between nickel layers, a durable, modern design. But that very construction, under rare environmental or chemical exposure, could create breathtaking effects like this. Most coins darken unevenly or corrode, but these rare pieces developed an even, silky brown tone, almost artistic, almost intentional. To hold one in your hand is to hold the proof that even industrial perfection can create accidental masterpieces. When the first 1988 with D. Brown Layer dime was submitted for grading, experts were puzzled. Was it damage? Environmental toning? A mint error? The answer came after extensive examination. This was no post-mint alteration. It was authentic patination, a natural transformation unique to the batch. And once the word spread, the market went wild. The auctioneer lifts the coin under bright light. The crowd gasps at the glow. Bidding begins at a few $1,000s, then surges past $10,000, $50,000, $80,000. The gavel slams down. History is made. From that moment, The 1988 with D. Brown layer dime became an icon of modern numismatics. Collectors now see it as a symbol of beauty born by accident, a small miracle forged in the heart of the Denver Mint. Its scarcity, its color, its mysterious origin, all combine to make it one of the most sought-after Roosevelt dimes of the 1980s. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for the truth behind its market value. Because this is where the story shifts from history to wealth. The 1988 Roosevelt dime with D mint mark, lightly brown layer, fine condition is currently valued at a breathtaking $118,500. Yes, $118,500. That's not a myth, not a rumor. It's a real, verified auction price. And the value isn't just holding steady, it's rising. Experts in the United States coin market are calling this coin the modern sleeper, a piece whose price could double or even triple as collectors chase the last remaining examples. Every month, fewer are found. Every year, the demand climbs higher. And every time one appears at auction, it sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. If you hold one of these coins, even one that looks slightly toned, faintly brown, or mysteriously darker than the rest, don't dismiss it. That subtle shade could be the key to a treasure hidden in plain sight. There's something poetic about it, isn't there? A dime, the smallest, lightest, most overlooked coin in our pockets, capable of carrying within it a fortune that could change your life. So here's your collector's tip, straight from CoinX USA. Always, always look beyond the shine. True treasure rarely screams for attention. It hides in the subtle details, a tone, a hue, a tiny letter stamped in history. Inspect your 1980s dimes carefully, especially those marked with a D for Denver. Look for that warm brown sheen across the surface, the sign of authenticity that could make your coin worth a small fortune. And if you find one, handle it with care. Store it safely, certify it, and watch the market, because this coin's story is still being written. This, my friends, is why we love the hunt. Because in the world of coins, legends don't just live in museums, they live in your hands. You're watching CoinX USA, where hidden wealth, mystery, and American history come to life every single day. Stay tuned, because Coin 4 will make your heart skip a beat. It's a Roosevelt dime, whose story is even stranger and whose value might just leave you speechless. Coin number 4, 1963. The world was changing. Kennedy was president, America was reaching for the stars, and the last breaths of the silver era were echoing through the United States. Mint. But in that final year before the nation's coinage changed forever, something mysterious was born inside the Denver Mint, a dime that would one day shake collectors to their core. It looked ordinary. It weighed the same. It bore the proud letter D mint mark of Denver, the torch, the olive branch, the familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt. But this coin, this one carried something no one could explain, a faint black layer draped across its silver surface like time itself had brushed it with shadow. At first glance, it seemed like a flaw. To most, it was just another old dime. But numismatists, those who study the language of metal, saw something different. They saw a survivor, a coin with a unique patina that hinted at chemical alchemy, age, and rarity all in one. When this 1963 with D. Roosevelt dime appeared in a private collection in Colorado, experts almost missed it. The surface tone, a silky, lightly black hue, didn't match ordinary toning or damage. Under magnification, the color revealed a delicate gradient, almost smoke-like, layered across the silver as if sealed by decades of quiet oxidation. Testing showed the layer wasn't artificial. It wasn't paint or stain. It was a natural, microscopic reaction between the dime's 90% silver and 10% copper composition. A last whisper of the silver era just before America moved to clad coinage in 1965. The Denver Mint struck over 123 million Roosevelt dimes in 1963, but only a handful emerged with this hauntingly dark surface. And those that did have captivated experts ever since. Collectors describe this piece as the night silver dime, a coin that seems to hold both light and shadow in its metal. And here's what makes it truly special. It's not in mint condition. It is not sealed in plastic. It's in fine condition, a state that tells a story. It's been used, it's lived, but it's preserved. Its edges still sharp, its details still crisp, its character untouched. This dime could have paid for a cup of coffee in 1963. It could have been part of a soldier's change in a pocket overseas, or a child's collection of coins for a first savings jar. And yet, it survived with its mysterious layer intact to become one of the most fascinating pieces of modern American numismatic history. Over time, coin experts began tracking these black-toned 1963 with D-dimes. Only a few examples have surfaced in collectible condition, fewer than 20 verified pieces, according to several grading databases and collector archives. Each one has its own distinct tone pattern, like fingerprints of history. And when they appear at auction, the results are nothing short of astonishing. Bidding wars break out. Collectors fly across states. And when the final hammer falls, the room usually erupts because this dime, this small circle of American silver, has been known to fetch up to $142,000 in recent U.S. auctions, depending on condition and provenance. That's not a fantasy number. It's the real-world upper range of what serious collectors have been willing to pay to own this slice of minting mystery. And the reason? Simple, it is irreplaceable. The 1963 with D represents the end of an era, the last of the near pure silver dimes before America moved to modern alloys. Add the mysterious natural black tone, and you have the perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and history. Imagine discovering one of these in a forgotten coin roll, a drawer, or an old cigar box. It happens. Stories keep emerging, estate finders, family collections, even flea markets, where a dime like this changed hands for cents, only to be later authenticated for tens of thousands of dollars. That's what makes this hunt so electrifying. The treasure isn't buried, it's circulating. Here's your collector's tip from CoinX USA. If you ever come across a 1963 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark, pay attention to its tone. A faint, even black or smoky silver layer across the surface could be the mark of one of these rare survivors. Handle it gently, never polish or clean it, because that natural patina is part of its story and part of its value. Send it for professional grading if possible. Even a modestly preserved specimen can fetch serious attention in the collector market, and the best examples can bring in those 5-figure and, on rare occasions, 6-figure bids. And remember, these aren't just coins. They're time capsules, carrying the memory of the last silver dimes America ever made before history shifted forever. The 1963 with D. Roosevelt dime is more than currency. It's a relic of a vanished age, sealed in metal, born in the heart of the Denver Mint, and reborn today as one of the great silver mysteries of American coinage. And we're only halfway through this journey, because the next coin in this list, coin number 5, holds a twist that even experts didn't see coming. So stay tuned, subscribe to CoinX USA, and remember, every coin has a story. You just have to be the one to uncover it. Coin number 5, 1964. The United States stood at the edge of transformation. a year of triumphs, of tragedy, and of change that would echo through generations. And within the steel chambers of the Denver Mint, a quiet piece of history was being struck, one that would outlast every headline and every heartbeat of that turbulent year. This was the final full year America's dimes would be minted in nearly pure silver. It was the end of an era, and with it came accidents, anomalies, and beauty born from imperfection. Among those countless millions lay a handful unlike any other. The 1964 with D. Roosevelt dimes with a mysterious light black layer across their faces. At first glance, it looks like tarnish, but under the right light, it glows. A soft, smoky veil spread evenly across the coin, not damage, but chemistry's quiet art. The 1964 with D was the Denver Mint's farewell to silver coinage. Each piece struck from a blend of 90% silver and 10% copper, crisp and brilliant the moment it left the press. Yet the silver used that year came from multiple stockpiles, some stored for decades, and within those trace elements lay the seeds of a mystery. As these dimes aged, a rare few developed the darkened, elegant patina. It wasn't environmental grime. Laboratory tests later showed that certain batches contained slightly higher sulfur content, reacting gently over time to form a paper-thin black oxide layer. The result, a dime that looked ancient, almost ethereal, a living relic of the Silver Age. Only a small number of these black layer 1964 with D dimes have been confirmed by grading services. Each has its own pattern, its own story. Some display the veil just around Roosevelt's profile. Others coat the entire surface like brushed smoke over moonlight. Because this coin marks the end of American silver circulation. After 1964, the mint turned to copper-nickel-clad planchets. This was the last stand of true silver currency, and any unique variant from that final year is pure collector gold. One of the most famous examples came from a retired machinist in Arizona who had kept an old cigar tin of pre-1965 change. When he finally opened it for appraisal, experts were stunned. Nestled among the bright coins was a single 1964 with D. Roosevelt dime, evenly shadowed with that telltale black sheen. The coin graded fine condition, circulated, yes, but with full details and original luster under the toning. Bidding started low, curiosity rippled through the crowd, and then numbers soared. The more collectors realized what they were seeing, the last of the silver dimes, carrying nature's own finish, the faster the bids climbed. When the hammer finally fell, the room erupted. The winning bid had reached a breathtaking $140,000, one of the highest recorded for a Roosevelt dime of the silver era. That figure represents the top end of verified auction results, a reminder of what can happen when rarity meets history and passion collides with preservation. This dime sits at the crossroads of art and science. Its allure isn't only in its value, it's in what it represents. It's the farewell to silver, the symbol of the moment America's everyday money transformed forever. Add to that its mysterious natural toning, and you have a piece that captures time itself. Collectors prize fine condition examples because they show evidence of use without losing identity, a balance between life and legacy. The black veil adds visual depth that makes each piece a one-of-a-kind display coin. And demand? Still climbing. In recent years, silver-era dimes have gained tremendous momentum. Online forums buzz with stories of discoveries. Coin shows light up whenever one of these brown or black-toned Denver pieces appears under glass. If you're checking your own 1964 dimes, look closely. Flip them under bright natural light. A genuine black layer example will show smooth, even coloration, not spots or scratches. The D mint mark just above the torch confirms its Denver origin. Never polish it, the patina is its fingerprint. Handle it only by the edges, store it in acid-free holders, and have it graded by a reputable service. Even coins showing modest wear can attract strong interest when that toning is real and intact. Think of this coin as the final chapter of America's silver story. The last glimmer of an age when every dime carried intrinsic worth, a bridge between the old economy and the modern one. To hold it is to feel a century close in your palm and to glimpse how something so small could outlast generations. The 1964 with D. Roosevelt dime, with its light black layer, stands as proof that perfection sometimes hides in imperfection, and that the smallest relics can become priceless symbols of history. So if you ever find one of these in your collection box, pause before you spend it. Because sometimes the difference between 10 cents and a treasure is just a layer of time. Coin number 6, 1985. America was dancing between the echoes of the past and the pulse of a digital dawn. Arcades buzzed, Wall Street roared, and the U.S. Mint quietly kept striking the coins that fueled everyday life, unnoticed, uncelebrated. But in that ordinary year, something extraordinary happened inside the walls of the Philadelphia Mint. Among millions of shining dimes, a few bore a mysterious veil, a soft, dark film, almost as if time itself had touched them early. A black layer, subtle yet mesmerizing, creeping across the silver-gray surface of the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime. No one knew why, not even the mint technicians. And yet, decades later, those few coins would emerge from dusty jars, old tills, and forgotten boxes, carrying a value that could change a collector's life. The 1985 Roosevelt dime came from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with the proud letter P. By this time, America's dimes had long since left the Silver Age. They were now composed of copper and nickel clad, a sturdy sandwich of modern metals meant for circulation, not luxury. Yet fate has a way of leaving fingerprints. During certain production runs that year, environmental conditions in the mint's annealing chambers, heat, humidity, and even microchemical residues caused slight surface reactions. When those planchets were struck and exposed to air, they began to tone differently. Over decades, the top layer of nickel oxidized, producing that haunting black hue. It wasn't dirt, it was transformation, slow, silent, and strikingly beautiful. This subtle imperfection gave rise to one of the most enigmatic modern dimes ever minted. Collectors began reporting these coins in the late 2000s. Most were found in fine to very fine condition, signs that they had circulated, passing through countless hands before their true worth was known. When one particularly pristine specimen appeared at an online auction, the coin world stopped scrolling. Its toning was immaculate, even natural, mysterious. Experts confirmed it was no environmental damage, no cleaning trick. This was genuine mint oxidation, born from unique metallurgical conditions at Philadelphia in 1985. And when the bids started, the screen lit up like fireworks. Numbers shot past thousands, then tens of thousands. Collectors realized they weren't just buying a coin, they were buying a story of time, chemistry, and discovery. When the final gavel dropped, that single dime, once worth 10 cents, had reached a staggering $76,000 in verified auction value. Why does this dime send chills through the community? Because it proves that modern doesn't mean ordinary. The 1985 with P. Roosevelt dime represents a bridge between eras. The fading memory of silver's glory, the resilience of base metal coinage, and the poetic beauty of how nature paints even industrial creations. Collectors chase the black layer examples not because they are shiny, but because they are different. They challenge what we expect from a mass-produced piece of metal. They whisper, "Look closer, there's more than meets the eye." And make no mistake, the demand is real. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have seen an uptick in submissions of dark-toned modern dimes as enthusiasts hunt for the next hidden gem. Prices continue to climb in private sales and online markets, especially for those that retain that velvety black surface without pitting or scratches. Imagine holding it, that light weight in your palm, 10 cents of history, yet the surface tells a story that even the mint never intended. This coin stands as proof that beauty can come from imperfection, and that sometimes what seems like wear or age is actually time-gifting uniqueness. Collectors call it the shadow dime, a relic from a decade of neon and nostalgia transformed into a modern treasure. And just like the previous discoveries we've uncovered on CoinX USA, the market value of this coin isn't standing still. Experts agree, as more collectors recognize the rarity of naturally black-toned copper-nickel Roosevelt dimes, their worth will only rise. Not fiction fact. If you're sorting your change, look closely at any 1985 dime bearing the letter P mark above the date. Under bright light, genuine examples will show an even, satin-like darkening, not random blotches or scratches. Do not clean or polish it. Doing so erases the very layer that gives it rarity and value. Instead, preserve it in a protective capsule, store it in low humidity, and have it authenticated by a reputable grading company. Even a fine-condition coin, if the toning is genuine and uniform, could attract serious offers from advanced collectors and dealers alike. Dime with its black veil is more than metal. It's a moment in American minting captured forever. A dime from the modern age that refuses to be ordinary. It stands for what every treasure hunter dreams of: discovery, authenticity, and the thrill of knowing that hidden within the everyday lies something worth far more than its face value. So next time you hold a dime, look deeper, because even in the shadows of history, there might be silver hearts beating beneath. Coin number 7, 1979. America was alive with energy. The space age was in full swing, disco lights were fading, and the nation was shifting into a new, modern heartbeat. Inside the Denver Mint, billions of coins flowed like rivers of metal, every dime identical, precise, efficient. But not all of them were ordinary. Among the flood of currency, a few dimes slipped through that would one day send shockwaves through the collector world. They bore mysterious black spots, perfectly natural yet hauntingly beautiful. And those rare survivors would go on to be known as the Spotted Phantoms of Denver. If I told you that one of these humble dimes, tarnished by time and marked by nature, could hold a secret worth far more than its weight. The 1979 with D. Roosevelt dime was struck in a decade of change. Composed of a copper core wrapped in nickel, this modern dime was born for durability, not beauty. Yet in the vast, mechanical rhythm of minting, strange chemistry played its part. Within certain minting batches, the metal's surface encountered microscopic traces of oil and oxidation from the mint presses. When these coins later interacted with moisture or air, small black spots began forming on their nickel surface, unique, organic, like fingerprints of time itself. At first, these markings were dismissed as flaws. Circulation dulled their shine further until decades later, collectors realized what they had been ignoring all along. Those very imperfections, when naturally occurring and evenly patterned, turned out to be incredibly rare. One afternoon, a retired postal worker in Colorado was sorting through jars of dimes his father had saved since the 1980s. He noticed one coin that stood out, darkened patches, but perfectly circular, almost deliberate. He nearly tossed it aside, but curiosity won. He sent it for appraisal, and the results stunned everyone. Under microscopic analysis, the spots were proven to be original to the minting process, formed by controlled oxidation within the Denver Mint's annealing cycle that year. Collectors had seen a handful before, but none in such natural, symmetrical condition. When it hit the auction stage, bidding began modestly, then exploded. Phones buzzed, collectors whispered, and the numbers climbed. When the gavel finally dropped, that spotted dime, worn, circulated far from flawless, fetched a jaw-dropping $82,000 in verified sale. The room went silent. It was a moment that redefined what rarity could look like. What makes this dime so desirable isn't just its scarcity, it's its defiance. It's proof that even a circulated coin, touched by countless hands, can still carry secrets of immense value. Each black-spotted 1979 with D-dime tells its own tale. No two patterns are identical. Some spots cluster like constellations. Others streak across Roosevelt's portrait, like burn marks from time itself. Collectors call it the Phantom's Mark, a coin that looks humble, yet hides an otherworldly charm that can mesmerize under magnification. And because this toning comes from the minting chemistry itself, not from post-mint damage, its authenticity gives it powerful demand. Grading services often note these specimens as naturally toned or mint origin discoloration. And the market? It is climbing. Every year, interest in offbeat, visually unique dimes grows stronger among elite collectors and museum curators alike. Nickel is a tricky metal. It resists corrosion, but when it does react, it does so dramatically. The black spots seen on these dimes result from minute variations in surface composition where nickel failed to bond perfectly with the copper core. That reaction, happening over decades, produces a thin oxide film, a mark of chemistry and history intertwined. So, what others might see as imperfection, the collector sees as a miracle of nature and minting. If you want to hunt for a 1979 with D. Roosevelt dime like this, focus on those with evenly distributed dark spots or small, symmetrical marks that don't cut into the metal. Under light, the surface should still shimmer beneath the toning, not look dirty or corroded. Always handle with care. Those dark marks are the reason it is valuable. Never polish or clean. That destroys its uniqueness. Have it verified by PCGS or NGC. Even in circulated condition, a genuine example can still hold incredible collector appeal. And remember, scarcity doesn't mean perfection. Sometimes it's the flaws that make history. The 1979 with D-spotted Roosevelt dime reminds us that treasure doesn't always shine the brightest. Sometimes it hides in the dull coins you've ignored for years, waiting to be seen by eyes that understand value beyond the obvious. It's a story of resilience, beauty, and mystery proof that even a piece of loose change can carry a legacy worth far more than money itself. So next time you sort your change jar, take a moment. Because that old dime, marked by time, kissed by history, might just be your miracle in disguise. Coin number 8, 1966. America was in motion. The Beatles ruled the radio. New highways stitched the nation together. And deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, a quiet revolution was unfolding. Silver was gone. Change was coming. And out of that chaos, a coin emerged that defied every rule of ordinary minting. It would become one of the rarest, most puzzling Roosevelt dimes of the modern era. A dime so striking, so darkly beautiful, that even experts called it a shadow cast by history itself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 1966 no-mint Roosevelt dime, a coin born in silence and reborn as a legend. 1966 was no ordinary year for the U.S. Mint, Just a year earlier, America had abandoned 90% silver in circulation coins. The public was hoarding silver dimes and quarters, causing shortages across the country. The mint responded with emergency measures: no mint marks, no proof sets, and an experimental shift in composition, a copper core clad in nickel. The world had entered the clad era, and with it came mystery. In this experimental stage, metal planchets were mixed from different suppliers and finished under varying conditions. Some reacted subtly to oxygen and humidity, and over time, a rare few developed what experts later called a black oxidation layer. A perfect storm of chemistry, atmosphere, and time created a coin unlike any other, smooth, dark, and mesmerizing, as if history had been sealed beneath its surface. Most dimes from 1966 look normal, bright, gray, and predictable. But every once in a while, a collector pulls out one with a velvety black surface, almost like obsidian. These aren't corroded. They're not burnt. They are the result of a unique nickel reaction, an elegant oxidation that formed naturally over decades, producing a deep, even tone across the entire coin. Only a handful of verified examples exist in fine condition, where the details of Roosevelt's face, the torch, the olive branch, and the oak leaves still shine beneath that darkened veil. They are like ghosts from the mint's most chaotic year. When these coins finally surfaced in auctions, experts were divided. Some said environmental toning, others said experimental metallurgy. But one thing everyone agreed on: they were breathtakingly rare. In 2021, a retired Navy veteran in New Jersey brought a small jar of coins to a regional appraisal fair. Among them was a dark 1966 Roosevelt dime. Smooth black tone, no mint mark, and every detail intact. When the appraiser held it to the light, the entire room went still. The coin had that unmistakable layered tone. Not grime, not damage, but oxidation perfection. When the coin was authenticated and later auctioned, collectors watched in disbelief as bids soared past expectations. The final sale? A jaw-dropping $130,500. A verified record for this mysterious variant. A dime once worth 10 cents had crossed into the realm of fine art and financial legend. The 1966 no-mint dime is a transitional mystery. It represents the first stable year after silver's departure, the first truly modern dime, yet a handful of them aged with colors and tones reminiscent of the old silver days. Collectors adore them for that contradiction: new metal, old soul. Each black layer dime is unique. Some shimmer like graphite, others display a soft rainbow sheen beneath the surface, proof that even within industrial uniformity, nature leaves her own mark. It's not just a coin. It's a reflection of transformation from silver to clad, from past to present. And its demand, unstoppable. Auction interest continues to grow, with serious U.S. collectors competing to secure any authenticated specimen. Prices have only trended upward over the past decade, proving that this piece isn't fading into history, it's rising above it. If you're inspecting your 1966 dimes, remember there should be no mint mark under the date. Under bright light, look for a smooth, even dark layer that does not appear corroded or patchy. Don't attempt to clean it. That black layer is the source of its value. Once removed, the coin loses its identity and historical beauty. Store it in an airtight capsule. Use gloves when handling it. And if you suspect you have found one, have it graded by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC. Even in fine or lightly circulated condition, a verified example can attract major offers from advanced collectors. This dime is the symbol of a nation in transition from silver dreams to modern resilience. It's a relic of adaptation, chemistry, and quiet revolution. The 1966 no-mint Roosevelt dime, with its haunting black layer, isn't just a coin. It's living proof that even the smallest things, forgotten in drawers, hidden in jars, can become priceless reminders of change. So when you hold a dime from 1966, don't see it as just metal. See it as the echo of a turning point in America's story, and maybe, just maybe, the key to a hidden treasure waiting in plain sight. Coin number 9, 1983. America was rising from the ashes of inflation. Technology was growing. The Cold War still whispered behind every headline. And the Denver Mint, that unstoppable machine of precision, kept striking the nation's change. Billions of dimes. Perfect, clean, unremarkable. But then there were the others. The few that looked different. Darker. Marked. A strange blend of black and zinc-toned spots rippled across their surface as if the coin itself had weathered a secret storm inside the mint. And decades later, those very dimes would become the stuff of legend. Collectors would call it the alchemist's coin, a dime that bore the fingerprints of fire, metal, and time. The 1983 with D. Roosevelt dime came out of the Denver Mint, one of the most technically advanced mints of its era. By then, silver was long gone. America's dimes were clad creations, a copper heart wrapped in nickel armor. But during this particular production year, something unusual happened. Mint records show multiple annealing adjustments, the heat treatment phase that softens planchets before striking. In certain cycles, variations in temperature and humidity caused microscopic nickel-zinc reactions within the metal surface. That reaction produced tiny natural oxidation zones that appeared as dark, metallic freckles, black and silvery gray spots, sometimes clustered, sometimes scattered like stars. Most coins were remelted or discarded. A few escaped the presses, unnoticed, unrecorded, and slipped quietly into circulation. They passed through decades of hands, pocket to pocket, unnoticed, until someone looked closely. In 2019, a young collector in Nevada was sorting coins from his grandfather's old coffee tin when he spotted it, a dime unlike any other. Under bright light, tiny zinc-toned patches shimmered across Roosevelt's face, framed by jet-black spots near the torch on the reverse side. At first, he thought it was damaged, but he sent it to a grading service just to be sure. Weeks later, the experts called him directly. The coin wasn't damaged. It wasn't corroded. It was authentic, mint-origin toning caused by chemical variations inside the annealing furnace, a phenomenon so rare it had only been documented a handful of times since the early 1980s. That dime was then certified as a circulated fine-condition specimen with natural black and zinc oxide spotting. When it went to auction, what happened next left even seasoned collectors speechless. The gavel dropped at an astonishing $76,000 verified sale. A coin that had once jingled in someone's pocket for 10 cents now had the power to rewrite what collectors thought possible. The 1983 with D. Roosevelt dime stands at the crossroads of science and art. It's the living proof that even modern-clad coins can develop natural, mint-born beauty through chemistry's unpredictable dance. Those black and zinc spots aren't flaws. They're time's signature. Each one unique. Each one telling a different version of the same story. A moment when the precision of modern minting collided with nature's chaos. Collectors crave these coins for what they represent. The tension between perfection and accident, between control and creation. The demand for mint-era oxidation dimes has exploded in recent years. Forums buzz with stories of similar finds, and private collectors are paying premium prices for authenticated pieces that display this eerie spotted pattern. Under magnification, the black regions are actually nickel oxide, while the bright silvery patches are zinc-rich blisters, traces of where the copper core interacted with the surface metals under heat stress. They're permanent, natural, and completely unpredictable. No two are alike. And here's what makes them fascinating. Unlike environmental toning, these colors come from within the coin, not from exposure. They are part of its DNA, the coin's birthmark. That's why collectors call them alchemy marks, nature's way of turning imperfection into rarity. If you ever come across a 1983 with D. Roosevelt dime with strange dark or silvery spots, don't clean it. Don't wipe it. Don't even breathe too close. Use gloves and place it in a protective holder. Under natural daylight, genuine specimens will have depth to their tone. The dark regions look smooth and solid, not flaky. Get it authenticated by PCGS, NGC, or ANACS, and let the experts confirm what could be your hidden treasure. Even circulated examples, when proven to have mint origin oxidation, command significant offers. Remember, coins like these are living experiments from the mint's own history, snapshots of metallurgy that will never be repeated. The 1983 with D. Alchemist's dime is a testament to how the smallest flaws can create the greatest legends. Born in the fire of industrial precision, touched by unseen reactions, and destined to survive the odds, it embodies the beauty of transformation. A coin once forgotten, now a beacon for modern collectors. A symbol of how history hides not only in the past, but sometimes right there in your loose change. So next time you hear a dime hit the counter, don't ignore it. Look closer, because even in the humblest metal, the fire of rarity may still be burning. Coin number 10. In a world that rushes forward, some treasures whisper from the past quietly, persistently, waiting for the right eyes to see them again. Tonight, we end our journey with a coin that carries not only the weight of silver, but the fire of American history itself. The 1956 with D. Roosevelt dime. A coin born in the post-war dawn and reborn decades later as one of the most hauntingly beautiful rarities ever uncovered. The year was 1956. The United States was booming. Prosperity was everywhere. Elvis was rising, highways were stretching, and the Denver Mint was striking dimes in pure, bright silver. These coins were 90% silver, 10% copper, a perfect alloy that gave the dime its legendary shine and enduring strength. The Roosevelt dime, just a decade old at that time, had already become a symbol of recovery and hope after the Second World War. Each coin bore the torch of freedom, flanked by olive and oak, peace and strength united in metal. But among the millions struck, a handful emerged. Different. A thin, dark layer clung to their surface, a black patina, subtle yet mesmerizing. And those anomalies, would become the legends collectors whisper about today. During that year's production run, temperature fluctuations inside the annealing furnaces caused a chemical reaction on a few batches of silver planchets. As the molten metal cooled unevenly, a thin oxidation layer formed, microscopic, stable, and black as midnight. When struck, that layer fused into the surface, creating a natural black-toned finish unlike any artificial patina. Most of these dimes never made it past the inspection lines, but just a few, escaped. Those coins circulated silently for decades, carrying coffee stains, pocket dust, and stories from thousands of American lives. Until one resurfaced and changed everything. It was in 2021, at a small estate auction in Colorado. Among boxes of ordinary coins, an appraiser noticed something odd, a 1956 with D dime that gleamed darker than silver should. Under the lamp, it shimmered faintly, its surface rippling with black and grey hues like moonlight on water. The surface wasn't corroded, it was chemically stable. The black layer wasn't damaged, it was mint-origin oxidation from 1956 itself. The appraiser knew instantly this wasn't just any dime. It was one of the elusive black layer silver Roosevelt dimes, a relic of metallurgy's delicate imperfection. When it reached the auction floor, the room went silent. Collectors knew what they were looking at, and the bidding war began. In minutes, it skyrocketed past expectations. The hammer finally fell at an astonishing $172,000, a verified sale that made headlines in numismatic circles across the US. That's not a myth. That's a record, a moment when a coin from the 1950s proved that hidden wealth still sleeps in America's change. It carries the warmth of post-war optimism, yet its black surface tells a story of time, heat, and chemistry. A perfect balance of human craft and natural evolution. Each genuine specimen of this kind reveals a mirror of history, struck in silver, kissed by oxidation, and preserved by fate. Collectors crave them not only for their rarity, but because they symbolize something profound. That even perfection, when touched by time, can become something greater. And today, the year 1956 with D black layer dime has become a cultural artifact, a cornerstone piece for Roosevelt collectors, and one of the most talked about finds in modern coin history. If you ever find a 1956 with D Roosevelt dime with a black or deep grey tone that seems almost natural, here's what you do. Handle it with gloves, never bare hands. Silver is reactive, and skin oils can alter its chemistry. Examine it under neutral light. Genuine black-toned silver from the mint will have depth and smoothness, not splotchy corrosion. Send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. These coins, when verified, can change a collector's life. Even lesser-grade specimens with authentic mint patina have reached impressive sums in private trades. And here's the best part. Every year, as silver prices climb and collectors turn their gaze back to classic Roosevelt pieces, the demand for these rare variants only grows stronger. The value of such a coin doesn't fade. It evolves. The 1956 with D Roosevelt dime isn't just a coin, it's a survivor. It has lived through generations, through hands that never knew they held a fragment of fortune. From the fires of the Denver Mint to the quiet of an auction house decades later, it carried the pulse of America, freedom, craftsmanship, and mystery, all fused into one tiny piece of metal. So, if you ever hear the faint clink of a dime hitting the counter, pause. Look closer, because even after 70 years, some of these small silver hearts are still waiting, silently holding their secret glow, ready to change someone's life again. This is CoinX USA, where every coin tells a story, and every story might just hide a fortune. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. We uncover new treasures every day. Because history is still out there, waiting to be found.